So today marks 6 days until I have my sleeve gastrectomy. I have met last week with the surgeon for my pre-op, and I met with the hospital for a pre-op blood work. Luckily, I had already had, they wanted to have a chest x-ray and an EKG, but I had already had those earlier. Chest x-ray I had for something else like 7 months ago, and they said as long as it was within the last year, we're fine. So when you go to the hospital, they want to know all the medicine you take and all the medicine that you have taken over maybe the last 6 months to a year, depending on the medication. And then they want to know all of your history. Have you ever smoked? How long did you smoke? Have you done recreational drugs? When did you quit? Or are you a drinker, or social drinker? Have you ever been put in a mental hospital? Have you ever been depressed? Are you depressed now? I mean, it was a long visit. I was like talking to the nurse. I guess she was like sort of the admitting nurse, since I didn't actually have surgery that day. It was a little, pre-admitting nurse. I don't know. Anyway, so I think the meeting with her was like an hour of just her asking questions. So I recommend that you, even if the hospital already has all the information about the drugs that you've taken, the drugs that you're on, make yourself a spreadsheet or something so that you can keep track of this sort of stuff, because they're going to ask you again. This is, I think, the 6th or 7th time that this has started, so in the last 5-6 months, that I've been asked, what medications are you on? What medications have you taken? And after a while, you're just like, I don't know. Isn't this in your files? Isn't this in your records? I've talked to so many people. Can't you just talk to them? But no, I mean, it is better coming from you, because you're the one who actually knows what you take. And as one of the nurses told me, that they ask these same questions over and over and over again, because they figure that people will either forget what they've taken or forget what they've done, or all of a sudden it'll occur to them. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I'm on birth control, but I mean, my doctor put me on that, and I take that all the time, and I've taken it every day for the last 12 years, so obviously that's nothing that I need to be concerned about. And then they'll tell that to one person in the whole line of people that you talk to, and it might be a few people down the road, and then that will affect your surgery. So there's that. Met with the doctor again, and he just was like, "So you still want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I still want to do this." He's like, "Okay, well then I'll see you in like 10 days. We'll do the surgery." I had some questions for him. I wanted to know things like, honestly, I don't even remember now. I had really important questions that I wanted to ask him, and now I don't remember what they were. I have anesthesia issues, so I've woken up a lot in surgeries, which can be a little frightening. In retrospect, I can look back and go, haha, isn't that funny? But at the time, you're like, am I supposed to be awake now? What are they doing to me? Why do I still have these things in my body? Why is this mask still on my face? Like, hey, let's do something about that. So anything that can occur to you, like I have a question like, when can I exercise again? Because I walk now between 1 and 3 miles a day. I've walked up to almost 10 miles in a day, and I know that they want us to walk after surgery, but I mean, how much is too much? And I know that this is going to depend on my energy level and everything like that. But how soon is too soon? Should I just be walking around the house? Should I be walking outside? I mean, it's almost 100 degrees outside. I don't necessarily think that being a little lightheaded or feeling tired from anesthesia or surgery or pain medications, or just because you're still recovering, maybe that doesn't go together. I need to ask my doctor that. When can I drive a car? I have to go and see him, my surgeon, 2 weeks after my surgery day. Or actually, it's going to be something like 13 days after my surgery, or 17 days after my surgery. Do I not get to drive in that time? I mean, how will I know? I know it'll probably depend on when I get how long I'm taking pain medication. Um, so there's that. I know that. Um, I wanted to know how long I was going to be in the hospital. I wanted to know what sort of device he was using, because I know that how big was he going to make my stomach? Because I've read all this about different doctors do it different ways. So since I'm having the sleeve, it's a totally different deal um, than getting the bypass or getting band or getting any of the other things that you can get. So I wanted to know what size he does, because I've read that the doctors will remove anywhere between, like 55 and 85% of your stomach. That's a big difference. And he says, well, he prefers to go on the larger side because he just thinks that it causes less problems down the road. Well, if I hadn't asked him that, I might think, I might have thought, oh, well, I'm going to have a teeny, teeny, tiny little stomach. But he says that he's going to leave what he refers to as a large pouch. But that's just his way of describing it. Write down any questions you have. Take someone with you. Because the doctor was talking to me about, here's what we're going to do, and here's this, and there's that, and here's diagrams, and let me talk to you about this. And I'm like, I have all these questions. I can't remember a single one of them, but my husband was there, and we had actually put it into our phone so that we could have this list, so he could read off the list and say, here's the questions you want to ask, and so we could get the answers to all the questions that I had. So I feel like I'm pretty prepared. I've been making lists of stuff. I'm a real list maker. You should know that about me. I've been making lists of things that I should take to the hospital. I've been making lists of things that I might want to have in the hospital, but don't necessarily need to have the day I get out of surgery. Been making lists of things that I need to take to the hotel where we're going to be staying, because as I said before, where I'm having my surgery is between an hour and a half from my house. So we just decided it'd be better to go and stay in a hotel. And my husband's going to stay there for the time that I'm in the hospital. And the hospital's either going to keep me in between 2 or 3 days. The doctor said probably 3, because since I live, far enough away that if I had a problem, that he would want me back as soon as possible. And as soon as possible is, when can your husband get home from work, pick you up, and drive you here at a safe speed when you're going to be uncomfortable or in pain or whatever, if there's a complication. So he said that he would rather keep me for 3 days versus 2 days. But the fact that we're going to be staying in a hotel just down the road from the hospital might make it 2 days in the hospital and 1 or 2 days in the hotel afterwards, just depending on how I feel. Yeah. So all these things I have to think about, because if we're not going to be in our house, I'm not going to have all my stuff. And I'm one of those people that's really bad about packing, because I'm like, I'm like, if I go on vacation, I say, well, I'm going on vacation in February, but I'm going to be going to the Caribbean, or I'm going to be going someplace which is warmer than I'm used to, so maybe I should take 2 bathing suits instead of 1. And I have contingencies upon contingencies of packing, and I have a suitcase that's as big as I am. Speaking of as big as I am, today I weighed myself, and I weighed 250 pounds, which is awesome, because I think that I might have been 18 or 19 when the last time that I weighed 250 pounds. That's 50 pounds down from my highest point, and about 25 down from what I have been over the last around 10 years. But still, it's good, and I haven't even had my surgery yet, so woohoo! So, I've been looking at what people wish they had done before surgery. One of the things that people wish they had done was take measurements of themselves. Because once you start losing weight, you're going to be like, oh, well, I've only lost X amount of pounds, and the doctor told me I lose Y amount of pounds, but I've been exercising every day, or I've been eating right, I've been doing exactly what they say, but I haven't lost the weight that they said I was supposed to. Well, maybe you haven't lost the weight, but maybe you've lost the inches. Inches is probably a better way to tell than just weight, because once you start working out, you're going to be gaining muscle, and muscle mass is different and weighs a different amount than fat. So, how you take measurements. You get yourself one of these handy dandy soft rulers, which you can get for probably $1.50, $2 at craft store, fabric store, Walmart, Target in their little sewing area. Anywhere pretty much you can get one of these. Now, you might ask yourself, where do I measure? You measure anywhere that you have fat. Or anywhere that you think, oh, I hope I lose here. So I might measure around my neck and hope that I lose some weight around my neck. And then I would record this in a book and say, oh, well, my neck is like 17 inches. And then, I want to lose weight on my upper arm, so I'd measure that. Around my bust. So bust is an interesting one because it's when you go for a bra fitting, ladies, you measure in 3 places. You measure across the thickest part of the bust. You measure above the bust, sort of like in the armpits. And then you measure, you can't see that, but right below, like where the band goes. Measure anything. Your rings are going to get, your fingers are going to get thinner. Your wrist is going to get thinner. Mine's already gotten, I've already gotten a couple sizes down on my Fitbit. Your forearms, upper arms, chest, neck, waist, hips, thighs, ankles, calves, anywhere. Because I've even heard that we're gonna lose weight. Our feet are gonna get smaller, which I have a lot of shoes and I really like my shoes. They're kind of expensive, but if my feet get smaller and I get new shoes, that'll probably be a while. I can probably keep wearing my shoes. So just keep that in mind. However you feel comfortable with. So if you say you're going to weigh yourself once a week, measure yourself once a week. If you say, well, I feel that's too often, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to measure myself once a month. I'm going to weigh myself once a month. Then measure yourself once a month. Keep a log. Keep a spreadsheet. It's going to be so much more encouraging than the numbers on the scale. Because I know that when I was working out a couple of years ago, I could not lose weight and I couldn't figure it out. I lost like 4 pounds and I'd been working out for like 6-8 months, 3-4 times a week for 2 and 3 hours at a time. It was a lot of working out. And I was like, this is so discouraging. I haven't lost any weight, or I've lost so little amount of weight. But then what I realized was that my clothes were fitting differently. My thighs were actually a little bit larger because I was doing a lot of leg stuff. And my arms got a little smaller, but also a little bit bigger because I was working out a lot. I was doing a lot of weightlifting. So even if you're not working out, this is going to be a really good thing that you can do. And start now. If you're before your surgery, start now. I'm going to take my measurements today. I'm going to put them down. And when I have my surgery next Monday, then probably into that week, beginning of next week, I'm going to measure myself again. See what happens. Maybe it's not much. Maybe it's 1/4 of an inch. But even if it's just a small amount, a 1/16 of an inch, you're going to know that this is where you're losing weight, that you are losing weight, that you are toning up. So do that. Keep track of your weight, yes. Keep track of your measurements. Take pictures. A lot of people do the before and after pictures. Here's my highest weight and here's the weight that I lost after 12 months. Why not take a weekly picture? Most of us have 5-6 cameras if you include phones and tablets and everything. Why not? What's it going to cost you? Nothing, because we don't even have to print out pictures anymore. So, big encouragement to people who are still planning surgery, getting ready for surgery, all that. I am looking forward to it, I guess. I'm not looking forward to spending 3 days in the hospital. I'm not looking forward to hopefully not, but cross my fingers, hopefully not waking up during anesthesia during my surgery. I'm not looking forward to the pain. I'm not looking forward to healing. I am looking forward to having something to enforce my willpower to eat smaller amounts of food, to eat the correct amounts of food. So I'll let you know how it goes. 6 more days. Well, 5.5 more days. Anyway, see ya.